Too many, including Christians, including pastors, are choosing to end their lives. What can we do to help those in the church who struggle with depression and suicidal thoughts? For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Tragically, last week we all learned that Jarrid Wilson, associate pastor of Harvest Christian Fellowship Church in Riverside, California, had committed suicide. He was a husband and father of two, and only 30 years old. Jarrid had founded a ministry called Anthem of Hope in order to minister to people with depression and suicidal ideations. He ended his life on the same day that he officiated the funeral of a Christian who had ended hers. About a year ago, Andrew Stoecklin, another 30-year-old pastor from California, also committed suicide. Like Wilson, he shared openly about his own battles with depression and anxiety. And about a year before that, Wisconsin pastor Bill Lenz took his life after a bout with depression and anxiety. Like Wilson, he administered extensively to many with depression and suicidal ideation and had created a suicide prevention ministry. In the fog of questions and grief, one thing is still clear. Neither Christians nor Christian pastors are immune from the suicide epidemic that's sweeping our country. My friend Ed Stetzer wrote in response to Wilson's death that while all suicides are shocking, stories of pastors and other Christian leaders who take their own lives cause questions to arise, questions that are unique. Among them must be, why is there still such a lack of awareness about the emotional, psychological, and spiritual struggles that pastors face? And also, where can pastors turn for help? Now, it's no surprise that so many pastors and ministry leaders are reluctant to admit that they struggle with sin, with depression, with their families. They especially struggle to be vulnerable with those who, quote-unquote, hold the power of the purse in their lives and can shape the future of their careers. And, as Stetzer pointed out in his article, there's an evangelical reluctance to look outside of Christian circles for assistance, especially when it comes to mental health issues. It's as if by doing so, we'd be admitting that the Christian faith is somehow inadequate. Well, it isn't, of course. The Christian faith explains who we are, and it explains how truth and health can be found even by those who study God's world without realizing that it's God's world. As Ed put it, God does not fix it all, yet. Or as Wilson himself wrote on Twitter the day he died, loving Jesus doesn't always cure suicidal thoughts, and loving Jesus doesn't always cure depression or PTSD and anxiety for that matter. Wilson ended his life on the eve of World Suicide Prevention Day, a day intended to draw attention to the enormity of the crisis in the U.S. and around the world. In connection with World Suicide Day, and in order to help us all answer the one question that we should all be asking right now, what can we do? My friend Jeremiah Johnston has written an article explaining how Christians can make a difference when it comes to suicide and depression. It starts with knowing more about suicide and its causes. Now, we've posted this article at breakpoint.org. Among the most important things to know is that mental illness is not a character flaw, it's a disease. Similarly, it's not a spiritual problem in the sense that it can be fixed with just more faith or more church. Mental illness is a treatable medical condition. There remains far too much stigma and shame in Christian circles when it comes to mental illness, and that has to stop. Mental illness is treatable, but only if it's treated. By supporting those around us, the church can help make that more likely. So, let's help. Just as the Christians in the Roman Empire ran toward epidemics while everyone else was running away from them, we have a chance today to do the same. And if you are one who is suffering from depression or suicidal thoughts, please seek help. There are those who love you, care for you, and want to help. And if you need help immediately, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK. You can find Dr. Jeremiah Johnston's article, A Light in the Darkness, How We Can All Help Prevent Suicides, at breakpoint.org. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.